Welcome. That's a double. I'm your host, Chad Ever Broshears, or Chad Ever Broshears to some. You know. And today I am going to talk. By the way, this is the Maturity Project, and I'm coming to you live, at least for the moment, in my mobile studio. I'm at a light, just in case you're wondering. All right. So what I wanted to talk about today is, again, it's the intent of this all is to just help create different frames of thinking or perspectives that could lead into frames of thinking. And what's apparent to me right now, and this is something that I've been talking with people about, especially I've had this conversation with an employee. I frame my own thinking in what I want to become, because it's really up to me what thoughts will turn into ideas, and what ideas will take root into expressing who I am in the world and giving me the logic that I function by. So what's come to mind is it's a Native American story, if you will. I'm not exactly sure what to reference it as, but it's about two wolves. There's the good wolf or the bad wolf, or the dark wolf and the light wolf, or whichever way you wanted to refer to it, but one in which you feed and it gives into the world the negative or the undesirable. It's the wolf that is more driven for self-gratification. It needs to take from others in order to feel nourished, and it all is about our personality values. And I find so much wisdom in our history to sit into our present, and then to how can we create this, put into such a package of conversation that people will want to shift their perspective enough, just long enough, to create hope for the change you wish to facilitate. Here's what I like is that if you do everything in a strategic way and you learn how to be strategic in your life, things will change. It's where you put your focus and effort, things will start changing. And by using the knowing and the position of strategy, you're going to start creating something much different. And how you're doing this is you're putting you get a thought, right? And a thought by itself can pass right through unless it has a depth of value that helps give it enough to become an idea. But ideas do require that it collects a little bit more. It has to have, like a seed, before it touches the soil, has little potential. I mean, it has all potential, but it has no opportunity until it is put into the soil. So it has enormous benefit or enormous potential, not necessarily benefit, because there are seeds that if you put it into a specific area, it can grow something that could kill off things you don't want killed off in the farming or gardening idea. Like weeds are removed commonly because sometimes just because they're aesthetically not pleasing. Sometimes it is that they're taking nourishment from the ground that they want for the crop that does give them benefit, and they can't do anything with the weed. Or it gets to the point where you could have a plant that becomes invasive, and it actually can not only take nourishment away from other plants, but it can be harmful to the plant in other ways. And it could bring in the kind of pests that your plant doesn't have much of a defense against. There's a lot of things that are there if you don't understand horticulture. I'm not here to be an expert in that either, because I'm not, but I'm using it as an example here. That's the same idea. That's what happens with ideas. So the seed is the thought that doesn't have a whole lot of anything other than potential. It has very little threat until it starts gaining value, enough of a root value of something. It has to, and using root value is intentional, because you want to understand that if it starts to sprout roots, which is when thoughts are starting to become ideas, you could get something that becomes damaging to your life and your social setting, societal positioning, the goals that you have. It can be something that detracts you from it. So you want to feed the proper wolf. And the good wolf, if you will, or the wolf of construction, the one that is intended to build into the future, comes with a lot of things, including community values, which community is one of the areas of maturity in my program. So it gives you opportunity to develop the community that you're within, because you have a desire and an understanding that cooperative living helps move things along and reduces the stress in your life by the assistance of others that are sincerely and genuinely aligned with you. But they can only be sincerely and genuinely aligned with you to the level that you are that with them. And what I mean by that, just because somebody has a significant amount of benefit for being friends with you or to being aligned with you in some way, and it all makes it so much easier for you to achieve a specific goal, whether that is they have advice for you to help you in business, or you can work out with them and they change your body, or they introduce you to people that you really didn't have access to, and you start developing relationships with them because of your relationship with this person. Those all have a significant benefit value, but it doesn't mean that you're aligned with the person if you're not being completely sincere and transparent with that person. You're actually out reaping somebody else's farmland, which is it only will last as long as it lasts. But if you're out there hacking away and they've got a lot of farmland, most people aren't going to really notice it initially. So the resources that you are depleting of the other person, because you're not completely sincere and aligned with them, and you're more using them than being with them and appreciating where they are in their life, and seeing how you can support them in exchange, then you are out there just hacking away. Now, people may not notice that initially, but as time goes on, you'll start making more of an impact on their total crop yield, right? So if you have, somebody says, hey, why is that back there? Why is that starting to look a little dead? Or why is it, you're not doing the same as you've done before? Their support system can come to their rescue and out you for being misaligned. Or, and misalignment also has a lot of narcissistic trait values and antisocial personality disorder values, because they're not really intended to be supportive of the society. It's more to take what you can from society. Now, I'm not claiming that the people that are in this are necessarily like they're psychopaths, sociopaths, Machiavellians, or narcissists, or any of that. I'm not putting that out there, and I'm just saying, as far as the microcosm of things, the traits will align with things that most people don't want to be described by. So if you're out there harvesting somebody else's, crop, and you're taking their yield, it's not showing up to market the same. And for them, they may not notice necessarily, but they notice the stress levels are just a little bit different. Their sensation of satisfaction and fulfillment for where they are in life is a little bit different. Now, I have an entire approach for this whenever it comes to people that are becoming kind of, I don't like the word victim of it, but we use that for a placekeeper now, becoming a victim of that circumstance of having somebody involved in their life like that. Now, I'll go over that at another time. But for now, this is more about the person that doesn't realize they're doing it, or if they do, they don't realize the full depth of effect from it. They just more or less notice that they are, things are a little bit better right now, that the relationship has a utility that you're really pulling from, and you feel like you're getting to another level with your status and or your opportunities or your goals, and it can feel pretty good, not realizing that you actually are creating harm, and that relationship will be unsustainable, especially as their support system comes to their rescue, which is preferable because you have immaturity leading your behavior. The other people need to get you in a position that you have to grow up. You have to mature. If you choose to leave the lesson when you're outed by not owning that you did not realize it, if you truly did not, because this is all about being completely and consistently sincere, then you're going to have a lot of challenges because you're going to avoid it and it will come up again. and it will continue to come up, and you'll start becoming envious of other people that have the truly fulfilled lives. And you'll just sit with, those people must have something I don't. And it's true, they do. They have something you don't have. They have the discipline necessary to achieve what is necessary. By the way, discipline does not always show up like work. Discipline is also just a habit of being once you've gotten past the breaking of a previous behavior that is resistant to what discipline is now creating. So if you'd rather sit around and do nothing and watch television and then sit back and go, if people are on drugs, that's why their bodies are looking like they do. They go to the gym, but they're taking steroids, stuff like that. It's that person's buying excuses. They're blaming others for things that they don't understand, and they will not make the change necessary to actually change their life or to achieve the goals. If they're noticing the person is in better shape, they likely have a degree of desire to be in better shape themselves, because they're centered, they're focused long enough to prove that their mind has a reason to have an attachment to that. So it could be a microcosm of an attachment, a microscopic attachment. We'll say that, not overuse microcosm, because that's actually out of context. It's not quite proper, at least not for what I'm wanting to contextually transfer here. You can live your life in that position of as we colloquially like to call it, blissful ignorance. I'm not a fan of blissful ignorance. Actually, I feel like blissful ignorance is like giving yourself a burn and constantly burning yourself, going, it's fine. The benefit is that people do say stuff to me, or you give somebody access to your bank account because they told you that they're going to send you a bunch of money from Nigeria, and you're like, oh yeah, it's a Nigerian prince, man, I'm gonna get that money. Oh yeah, and you live in that world where you're like, hey, it's all good, and they're extracting the money out of your bank account, or they've got your data so they can fraud you in some way, or possession as if they are you, or whatever, identity theft, whatever it is that they're actually fishing for when they do those scams, which can be more than one thing, by the way. It's not just one, typically, although it's common that people do see that there's one thing. But not to get into the economy of the dark web and data sales and things like that, or personal data information sales. But anyway, all right, not to digress too far. The point of it is which wolf do you feed? And it is completely your call. You could feed the desirable wolf, the one that creates, and you will have a lot of licks on the chin. You'll get a lot of punches. You'll get a lot of setbacks. You'll get pushed around. You'll get beat up. But that is the same as going to the gym or taking boxing classes, it's anything that's necessary to get better, the practice it takes to get better. The people that sit in the stands, the ones that watch the game, hey, at least let's do it this way. The people that sit in the stands they're not really very they're not motivated enough to make the change in their life, but they'll watch others do it, and they'll criticize other people, and then they'll celebrate ones and then criticize others. But they're not doing anything. They're not in the game of life. They're spectators for the game of life. And their opinions, they feel, are they're one of the only things that they have to give them validation, because they're not doing anything to make change. So they validate themselves by spreading their opinion, hoping that it becomes more like a mind virus. Getting other people to see from your perspective is validation to the degree that it can create that validation, right? It could be a minor thing and you're just like, it's not a big deal. Or it could be one of those things where it's a very important conversation and you persuade the other person to see from your view and become an allyship, if you will. Not a fan of modern usage of that word, but anyway, but the proper definition of allyship, not this colloquial nonsensical bullshit that we have going on right now, which is mob bullshit. Anyway, all right. Not that I have an opinion on it, right? I do, because I look at the thinking processes and I refuse to enslave my mind because somebody else tells me how to think. You will not get that with me. And I hope that the people that join this and follow this channel and subscribe to it and comment and share the videos and things like that are also out to not have their mind be controlled, that they are out to create a credible reality that they themselves have control over, and not something that other people have made them believe that they could have and create the limitations. No, feed the right wolf. It will create something different for you. So the constructive wolf or the destructive wolf. Now, there are times that the destructive wolf is required. I mean, it's not in existence because it is just this thing that we need to kill. It has utility. The destructive wolf has a lot of benefit, actually, because if you're so far on the wrong path, it is required to take you off that path. If you're in a situation where somebody is so well dug into your life because you did not have the defenses to recognize that they were creating so much chaos in your life, then you will go and you need to release the bad wolf. You've got to feed it a little bit so that it can destroy the bonds and the attachments that other person has that is actually controlling you. Now, when I say controlling you, I don't mean like total, although that does sometimes happen whenever you're dealing with people that are in the previously mentioned antisocial personality disorder traits and things. And we'll hold more on narcissism in that category. But those people are hard to get out of your life when they're attached, when they're in there, because they have an understanding and they have a skill set that helps them puppeteer your perspectives, that they fabricate the reality that you're living in. Often that starts off as small fabricated reality, something that is fairly minuscule, and then they build something more consistent as emotions are led into the new thing. So you can get your emotions led in by what they do, what they say, how they be with you, what they make you understand, things like that. That's why flattery really doesn't work for me. By the way, flattery is not a positive thing by definition. It's actually a manipulative tactic using something that is an attribute you do have some degree of awareness to, or something that actually does make you feel good about yourself. Anyway, that was the original definition of flattery, or at least that's my working functional definition of flattery as well. Now, all right, so on point with this, sometimes you do have to feed the bad wolf. It needs to be unleashed. It's like Jordan Peterson says, that if you want to not become a monster, you need to understand that you are a monster. A tame man is one that has gone through the process of understanding they are a monster, and they have conquered the beast. You don't want to just live in that world where all you do is function in the good wolf concepts, although you do want that level of constructive direction if it has anything to do with your goals, unless your goals are what let the world burn. But I actually think that's a door prize, if you will. That's a consequence of living, that if you have no other direction or purpose, you kind of fall victim to the watch the world burn. It's the only thing left to validate my existence. The people that go into infamy, the ones that do, like mass shootings in public places that are gun-free zones, because those are easy targets. It's less likely that somebody's going to stop them right away, and the higher atrocity because people feel safe there, so they bring their vulnerability there, and then the shock value of it, which is, oh my God, can you believe that happened? And there were children there and all this stuff because of their innocence lost, and that creates a higher tragedy. And so they target those places because they have no real purpose in life, and the last option they have in the fleeting existence of their dismal life is to go off and create infamy for themselves, because they will not be famous. They will not be known for anything desirable, but they're so soured in life because, in my opinion, they had been misled for so long that the outcome is the consequences of destruction. And that is a very, very heavily fortified bad wolf or destructive wolf. But it's been fed by others. Sometimes that other feeding is just a neglect, but that's not something that the other person necessarily has to be responsible for, as much as, unless they're the immediate authority, like a parent or something like that, then our parenting needs to get better. We have to get better as parents. As a nation, as a species, if we really move ourselves along. Because right now I feel we have a lot of bad wolves, or destructive wolves that are present, and are in very significant positions of power. If you want to take that back and to create a better world, you've got to grow up. You've got to mature. And I am completely dedicated to that. This is my purpose in life, is to help others mature. I am not standing in, and nor will I ever stand in. I am the one that is completely mature. I'm here as guide. A lot like Moses. I'm going to take you through places, but the paradise or the promised land that you're going to, I will not be there. This land is where you can sit back, kick your feet up, and relax and enjoy. Truly just be at peace in your moment. Some of us find peace in a pit that others see as a destructive hell. And this is not a wolf. This is the one that is such a matured good wolf, the constructive wolf. It is so matured that purpose overrides the sensations of relaxed pleasure or the vacation mentality. I don't thrive in that. I actually don't care for it as much, and I'm forced to take vacations. And I hide behind the term being a workaholic. The reality is that I'm so devoted to making a difference in my lifetime that I will go as far as possible. So whenever I read the stories of Moses, I resonate so significantly with that, because I won't make the promised land that you go to. Your promised land won't be mine. Your heaven is not mine. Mine is different. I have my own, but most people do not want to join me there because it takes so much to be there. It's a lot of work. And if you don't enjoy the work, it's hell. If you don't enjoy the pressure, if you don't enjoy actually making hardship a goal, and I don't mean chaos, I mean the taming of chaos, is when you get into the ring with chaos, hardship is there and it's quick. But if you don't know how to fight the hardship, the chaos and the hardship that it brings, if you don't know how to stand in that and develop and push yourself through it and continue to fight, then it looks like absolute chaos. And it's the thing you should be afraid of. And if you were on the other side, which we have those people where all they want to do is create chaos, as I mentioned earlier, the people that find the sacred spaces that we idealistically create, but unfortunately seems to be a time bombs waiting to happen because of our maturity in our society. Now, yeah, it's going to look like just the absolute worst place to be. And that's why most won't join me there. So when I say I won't be there with you, I will be there to help you get to where you want to be. But when you cross the pearly gates, if you will, the heaven ideas or the heaven concepts, I won't follow you in. My job isn't done. As interesting as it is, wow, got me emotional. As interesting as it is, my heaven is in that fight. My heaven is in the work. You know, what's interesting is perhaps that's also a big reason for the fight, is to help other people that actually are like me real and develop the skills necessary to really get into it. It's a lot UFC or boxing or whatever. It's a lot like that. Those people are learning how to tame the chaos and how to become calm in the face of uncertainty and the potential of harm, and not to lose their mind in it. And they continue to get better and better, and before you know it, you see them with this high level of confidence going into something where you're like, that guy's going to get his ass kicked, or these guys are going to beat the hell out of themselves, or these people, because they're definitely women fighting as well, but they're going to beat the hell out of themselves because you don't understand why they're doing it. Some of the people are not doing it for the fame alone. And I'd actually say that none of them are doing it for the fame alone. Because to me, fame is not worth that hell. Because that is constant beating. constant beating. They're getting beat when they're not even in the ring. Where you go and punch in and do a 9 to 5 or whatever your business is, their business is getting their asses kicked and learning how to kick ass. Those people are the type of people that their heaven is on the other side of discipline. My heaven's on the other side of discipline. But mine's a lonely place because so few people ever even see it as where they want to be. Most people are running from it. And it's understandable. If you don't understand what's on the other side, this is what it's like when you start taming chaos, is you can sit in the confidence that, yeah, I fight through it and I continue to learn how to continue to fight. That's impressive to me when I meet people that are like that. But a lot of people just want to work and they just want to live and they just want to, punch the clock and they want to get their vacation, they're 2 weeks a year and they're paid time off and sick and, health care and, all the certainties of life that they're after. But that's what they want. It's like the in the movie Troy when Achilles says, and that's the reason why no one will remember you. That's not a negative, by the way. I'm not trying to put it in that light. Types of people in this life. We can't have everybody be business owners because you can't have that many owners and not actually have people working. We're not in a society that one person runs one business that creates a significant impact on the entire world in a way that they can say that and live comfortably enough or to live above their comfort. We don't have an economy that works that way, and nor will we ever. We're communal creatures. We have a hierarchy the way that we drive. There's different stages of our life. When we're younger, we need to work for other people and be developed. All of this is feeding wolves, man. You just got to be careful because if you have something that's far ahead of where you currently are with your skill sets, you could be feeding the good wolf, the constructive wolf, but because your maturity is so low and understanding what it takes to be successful in that world, that it can turn to the ugly side, and then the destructive wolf consumes the constructive. It just absorbs it. All of the traits that you use to develop to be better and to be more constructive, realizing that other people are getting where they want to be and you don't have the focus to understand what they're doing strategically on a daily basis, a decision by decision basis, a thought by thought basis, an idea by idea basis. You don't understand those things, yeah, man, it just turns into chaos. And it turns into they are cheating. They have some sort of advantage. By the way, anybody ever teaches you to think that way, that is not your friend. That person is your enemy. You just don't realize it. It's the Trojan horse. Troy again, right? But it's a Trojan horse. It's what you think is a gift by somebody else comforting you, by making you an understanding about why you weren't able to be successful. It's actually recruiting you into a negative thought, a destructive thought. It's getting you into their destructive wolf, trying to add you to their pack. They want other people to see the destruction that is possible, but it doesn't come out with that kind of cognitive thinking process. That comes out with more of companionship. I'm alone. I don't want to be alone. That's where they're at. Most of them. I really don't know how many people are truly intentionally malicious in life. The majority of the people that I've experienced that seem to be that way are immature and they don't understand the consequences of their actions. And they're in that lower hierarchy of needs where they're survival-based, basic functions, maybe slightly above that, but it's still in that very narcissistic category, the very selfish category. They're not in a thriving place, even if they've accumulated a lot. It isn't enough. Very few people, I don't know if I've ever come across somebody who truly is pure evil in person. I know of them, but I don't know if I've ever met one in person. It's fascinating how if you just shift your perspective on the things that we have available to us that's been taught for thousands of years, like with the Bible, if we got past the perspectives of how it's taught to us, and we start looking at how it actually works and all the way through and the wisdom of it, it really gets to be fascinating how we're given this stuff. And it actually seems to be more also a warning. And we can do this for ourselves because we talk about our future. Now, what's fascinating as well, and I'll end this shortly, people really do enjoy putting meaning to something that the meaning isn't there. Now, what I love is when you're given something that you can make meaning to it, and it's intentional for you to make meaning to it. It's intentional for you to make utility to it, like specific quotes that can give you the opportunity to make it a real meaning for it that works for you, not the author. And I don't mean this as people that are putting up arguments and using quotes to try to support it, although it's similar. I mean the ones that make it go, well, you know what? This was said by a person with these attributes and characteristics, the traits that they're known for in history. They said this, and their thinking was likely to come from such a mature place that by understanding that quote, my life gets better. And by utilizing their wisdom, my life becomes more possible. That, my friends, that's the kind of things that I want to leave. I want to be known as some sort of guru like that. I'm not making a difference. I want to be famous for making a difference. It's like a father to their child. You want to make a difference beyond, just basic stuff. You want to make a difference that is impactful and changes a life in the desirable direction. Teach the good wolf how to hunt, how to feed. That's what a father does for their children. It's the better part of what a father can do for their children. Is teach that child how to feed the good wolf, the constructive wolf. So that's what I'm working on. Oh, my son deserves it. The world that my son inherits from me deserves it. If I want my son to shine, I will not do any of this for him directly. I will do it. I'm not doing it for him in the sense that he doesn't have to do this. I'm going to teach him how to do this, how to be different, how to not fall victim to these mind control attempts. Because we do have those. Watch television, watch the news. When you see something repeated in the exact same language across multiple different channels, that's brainwashing. Project Mockingbird, it's a CIA. That's actually a known thing. It's factual, and it is present. It's right in front of us. I do not want my son to fall victim to that. I don't want the world my son inherits to be ran by it. Critical thinking is the most essential aspect to combat brainwashing. And independent thinking is a tenet of critical thinking. It's required for critical thinking. You have to think independently. And right now, that's what's being attacked through the media. Every time somebody stands out with independent thinking, and I don't care what people think of these people, they're good examples. Jordan Peterson is a great example. You've got Donald Trump is a great example. Hell, you just put together anybody that says that being claimed to be a far-right person right now in this society is probably the attack. Well, that is the attack in most instances for that person is a bad person. They're far-right extremists. No, they're critical thinkers. They're independent thinkers. Even if their thoughts are not necessarily correct, they still think for themselves. And that pisses people off that want others to think like they do. You develop your own independent thinking leads to your critical thinking. That creates your own autonomy and your own independence. But all of those things are necessary. Remember, as I started this video, as a thought can turn to an idea, and an idea can become part of you, because it's growing roots into who you are. Choose what thoughts you harbor and that you allow to evolve to ideas, because they'll become part of your operating system. And that's what people know you for. So with that, thank you. Thank you for your time today. Thank you for joining me in this. Again, I'm not going to say that I am Moses by the purest sense of any of that. I just live a life similar to what we've been taught through the stories of Moses. I don't have tablets that I was given by God, but I have my 8 areas of maturity that have their own interesting origin in my life that I'll share in time. Oh, and you can look at it that way, that, you know, the 10 commandments from God that was gifted to him through the burning bush, to Moses. You can look at the 8 areas of maturity in a similar way. They came to me as an epiphany. And now it's my job, it's a purpose in life to teach it. I need to make things different. I need to make things better. I need to make things more mature. That's my method into this next level of human beings. And, you know, to create this independence and stop this destruction that we have going on. I don't care where you are in politics. I don't care what country you're in. I don't care any of that stuff. What I care about is that we become more mature. So, with that, thank you for being on the show or for watching the episode. Share this video with a person in your life that you want to break the ice with this kind of conversation. Comment in the comment section. Let me know what you got. You know, I love getting the feedback. A good friend of mine, Steven, jumped in recently, and I just love this guy. He's such a human being, and it's such a wonderful gift from the past to show up on the comments. So, comment in the comment section. Let me know what you're getting. You know, throw stuff in there. I love it. You know. So until next time, you know, we got a world to work on, but we got to work on ourselves first. So join me in that. Host Chat Ever Broshears, or Sir Chat Ever Broshears to some. If you know, you know. And let's have some fun when we do this, okay? We don't always have to be heavy and significant. I know today's conversation was a bit of that, but that's okay. The work and play, they're combined, you know, and it's fun for me. So I hope that it starts to become fun for you. All right, till next time. We'll catch you then. See ya. Let's get up to it.